Some places don't want to be found. Some treasures come with a deadly price, and some lands carry a curse that never fades. Tonight, we're cracking open the first darkest file yet. Welcome to the very first ever Curses Compilations, where greed, curiosity, and bad luck meet their final destination. These aren't Hollywood inventions. These are real places and objects that have left a trail of tragedy, disappearances, and death for decades, sometimes centuries. Starting with the Curse of Tormenta, a remote, storm-battered region where violent weather seems to strike only those who venture too deep. Survivors speak of sudden tornadoes, blinding fog, and an overwhelming sense of dread, as if the land itself is fighting back. Next, the Lost Dutchman Gold Mine in Arizona's Superstition Mountains. Legend says the mine is guarded by an ancient curse. Then, there's Headless Valley, deep in Canada's Nahanni Valley, known as the Valley of Vanishing Men. And finally, the Curse of Yosemite, America's most beautiful national park, hides a darker secret. I hope you enjoy this compilation as I have, as these were curated just for those of you that are stuck in traffic or going on a long road trip. This one's for you. Imagine sailing into a hidden cove under a blood-red sunset, spotting a cave sealed by massive boulders, and knowing that one step inside could doom you forever. This isn't fiction. This is the Curse of Captain Tormenta, a pirate's final act of vengeance that still haunts Los Cabos to this day. Welcome to Campsite Mysteries, and on this episode, I am traveling to Cabo to uncover the terrifying legend of the cursed treasure beneath the Arco. If you're easily spooked, turn back now, because after tonight, you may never stare at the famous Ark without wondering who's staring back from the shadows. Welcome back to the channel, where we explore the world's strangest unsolved mysteries, haunted locations, and legends that make you question what's real. I'm Edward, and tonight we're heading south to the sun-drenched beaches of Baja California, Mexico. But this isn't about margaritas and sunsets. It's about a pirate so ruthless, even death couldn't stop his revenge. Grab your flashlight, because we're going inside the Cueva del Pirata, the pirate's cave, and the curse that guards it. During the 16th and 17th centuries, the Pacific coast of Mexico was pirate paradise. Spanish treasure fleets loaded with gold from the New World sailed past these shores on their way to Panama and beyond. Pirates, English, Dutch, French, lurked in hidden coves, waiting to strike. Los Cabos, with its dramatic rock formations and secret caves, was the perfect hideout. One such pirate rose above the rest, known only as Capitán Tormenta, Captain Storm. But why Storm? Because he struck during tempest when other ships hid in port. He was fearless, brutal, and obsessed with amassing wealth no one could touch. Local legends say he raided dozens of ships, amassing chests overflowing with gold coins, silver bars, black pearls from the Sea of Cortez, and jewels stolen from Spanish nobility. But Tormenta wasn't just a thief. He was paranoid. He trusted no one, not even his own crew. According to the oral tradition passed down in Los Cabos for centuries, Captain Tormenta chose the most iconic spot to hide his fortune, a sea cave right next to the Arco de Cabo San Lucas, the natural rock art that's now a tourist icon. In those days, it was remote, treacherous, accessible only by small boat at low tide. He forced his crew to haul the treasure deep inside, then sealed the entrance with boulders so massive it would take dynamite to reopen. But Tormenta knew greedy men would come looking. So, standing at the cave mouth as the sun set, he raised his arms to the stormy sky and uttered a blood-chilling curse. May anyone who dares enter this cave in search of my gold suffer a fate worse than death. May storms swallow their ships, may their madness claim their minds, and may my spirit drag their souls to the depths forever. Some versions say he sacrificed one of his own men right there, spilling blood to bind the curse to the cave. Then, he vanished. Some say he died in a final raid. Others claim he sailed into a hurricane, laughing as the sea claimed him. But the treasure, it remains hidden. And the curse, it's very much alive. Over the centuries, treasure hunters, divers, and curious locals have tried their luck. Most walk away empty-handed, but changed. Stories from the 20th century tell of divers who entered the cave and emerged babbling about a shadowy figure with glowing eyes, watching from the darkness. One woman in the 1980s reportedly found a single gold coin near the entrance. Greed took over. She went back for more. She never returned. Her boat washed up days later, empty. Locals swear that on stormy nights, you can see a face carved into the rock formation near the cave. A grim, smiling pirate visage staring out at the sea. Is it natural erosion? Or is it Captain Tormenta himself? Still watching, still waiting. Even today, some fishermen refuse to sail too close to the Arco during bad weather. They say if you listen carefully, you can hear faint laughter carried on by the wind. And if you're foolish enough to dive toward that cave, you might feel cold fingers brush your ankle, pulling you down. If this legend is giving you chills right now like it is for me, do me a quick favor, smash that like button if you'd never set foot near that cave, even in broad daylight. Drop a comment below. Have you ever been to Los Cabos, felt anything weird near the Arco, or heard a similar cursed treasure story from your travels? I read every single one, and the creepiest stories might get a shout out in the upcoming video. And if you're new here or just love these late night deep dives into the unknown, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We drop a new mystery every week, haunted campsites, unsolved disappearances, ancient curses, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Alright, back to the legend. So, is Captain Tormenta's curse real, or is it just a clever story to keep people from dangerous caves and risky dives? The treasure, if it exists, could be worth millions, but every attempt to find it ends in tragedy, or nothing at all. Perhaps the real curse is human greed, or perhaps something darker lingers in that cave. What do you think? Thanks for watching Campsite Mysteries. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into cursed pirate lore, hit that like button. If you haven't already, subscribe and ring the bell for more haunted histories and unsolved enigmas. Until then, the compass always points to him. The question is, are you brave enough to follow it? Lights out. You're trekking through the rugged canyons of Arizona's Superstition Mountains. As the sun dips low, the air thick with heat and silence. Then you spot it, a faint glimmer in the rock face, like gold catching the last light. You step closer, heart pounding, but as you reach out, the ground shifts. Shadows lengthen unnaturally, whispers echo from the cliffs. Turn back or join the lost. Suddenly a figure appears, gaunt, wild-eyed, clutching a map, before vanishing into the dust like a ghost. Welcome to the Superstition Mountains, where the curse of the Lost Dutchman's Gold has claimed lives, fortunes, and sanity for over a century. Hidden mines, Apache guardians, brutal murders, and treasures that drive men mad. Tonight, on Campsite Mysteries, we unearth the deadly secrets of this cursed range. Stay close to the fire, because in the superstitions, greed isn't the only thing that kills. Welcome, fellow mystery seekers, to another episode of Campsite Mysteries. I'm your host, Edward, and tonight, as a campfire flickers against the night, we're heading into the heart of Arizona's wilderness, the Superstition Mountains. This isn't your average desert hike. These jagged peaks rise like ancient sentinels east of Phoenix, spanning over 160,000 acres of treacherous terrain. Volcanic origins, deep canyons, and scorching heat make it a survivalist nightmare. But it's the legends that truly haunt this place. Tales of unimaginable wealth, vengeful spirits, and a curse that ensures no one leaves with the gold alive. Let's start with the land itself. The Superstition Mountains have been sacred to Native American tribes for centuries, particularly the Apache. They called it the Thunder God's Mountain, believing it was home to powerful spirits and the entrance to the underworld. Legends warn of a hidden canyon where gold veins run like rivers, but guarded by the gods themselves. Disturb it, and you'll face storms, rock slides, or worse, eternal wandering as a lost soul. Spanish explorers in the 1500s heard these stories and pressed on anyway, leading to the infamous Peralta massacre. In the 1840s, the Peralta family from Mexico supposedly found a rich gold mine here, hauling out fortunes in ore, but on their way back, Apache warriors ambushed them, slaughtering nearly all and scattering the gold. Survivors buried caches along the trail, marking them with cryptic symbols carved into rocks, symbols that treasure hunters still search for today. Enter the star of our tale, Jacob Waltz, the Dutchman. It was actually German, but hey, close enough. In the late 1800s, Waltz arrived in Arizona, a prospector with a mysterious past. Legend says he learned the mine's location from a Peralta descendant he rescued or murdered, depending on the teller. Waltz worked the mine in secret, emerging periodically with pouches of high-grade gold ore, the kind that sparkled with quartz and promised riches beyond dreams. He lived modestly in Phoenix, but whispers spread. The Dutchman has a mind that could make kings beggars. On his deathbed in 1891, Waltz allegedly gave clues to his nurse, Julia Thomas. Follow the shadow of Weaver's Needle at sunset. Look for the heart-shaped rock. The mine is in a north-facing canyon where no miner would go. Thomas searched but found nothing, except bankruptcy and despair. Those clues birthed an obsession. Over the decades, hundreds have decoded Waltz's riddles, poring over Peralta stones. Ancient stone tablets discovered in 1949, etched with maps, hearts, crosses, and Spanish inscriptions. Are they real? Debated hotly, but they've led many astray. One famous map shows a trail from a priest's head to a horse's rear. Symbolic or a cruel joke? Treasure hunters like Adolf Ruth in 1931 followed these leads and paid dearly. Ruth vanished in the mountains. His skull was found months later, shot twice. Official verdict? Heat stroke. But those bullet holes? Unexplained. Was it murder by rivals or the curse striking again? The deaths pile up like desert bones. In the 1940s, James Kidd disappeared while hunting the mine. his skeleton discovered years later. The 1960s saw headless corpses turning up, like Jesse Capens in 2009, or the 3 Utah men in the 2010, who vanished without a trace. Rock slides, flash floods, snake bites, nature's arsenal, or something supernatural. Locals swear the mountains move. Trails shift overnight, compasses spin wildly due to magnetic ore deposits. And the Apache curse? They say the thunder god protects the gold. Intruders hear ghostly war cries, or see shadow figures lurking on ridges. Now, the superstitions aren't just about gold. UFO sightings abound, strange lights hovering over peaks, perhaps drawn to the same energy that hides the mine. Bigfoot-like creatures called the Mogollon Monster roam the fringes, with footprints and howls reported since the 1900s. And don't forget the Devil's Hole, a bottomless pit said to swallow explorers whole, linking to underground caverns filled with prehistoric fossils, or perhaps the mine itself. Hey, if this tale of cursed gold and desert ghosts has you hooked and you're craving more episodes on lost treasures, haunted hikes, or cryptic maps, pause right here and smash that subscribe button. Turn on notifications so you never miss a mystery. And drop a comment. What's the wildest treasure legend you've heard? Or would you risk it all for the superstitions? Diving deeper, let's talk modern hunts. In the 20th century, Ron Feldman founded the Superstition Mountain Museum, collecting artifacts like Waltz's alleged candlestick said to point the mine when lit. Books like The Killer Mountains by Kurt Gentry detail gruesome ends, men driven insane, muttering about eyes in the dark before suicide. One theory, the mine's real, but booby-trapped by Waltz with dynamite or pitfalls. Another, it's not gold at all, but a metaphor for the American dream's deadly allure. Greed turning brother against brother. Fringe theories add spice. Some say the Peraltas found not just gold, but Aztec treasures hidden from Cortez, cursed by Montezuma's shamans. Others link it to the Knights Templar, claiming medieval maps smuggled to America point here. And the Dutchman's Code? Cryptographers have cracked parts, revealing coordinates that align with solstices, hinting at ancient astronomical knowledge. In 2015, a hiker found a gold bar stamped with Spanish marks, reigniting fever. But was it planted? The park rangers know the toll. Over 600 search and rescue operations yearly, many for gold seekers, ignoring warnings. Temperatures hit 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Water sources dry up, cliffs drop hundreds of feet, yet permits for mining claims still get filled, though the Wilderness Act protects most of the area now. Skeptics argue the legend's a hoax. Waltz's gold was likely from legitimate claims elsewhere, exaggerated by tall tales and saloons. Geologists say the mountain's geology supports small veins, but nothing legendary. The Peralta stones? Probably 20th century fakes per experts, but doubts don't stop the pilgrims. Events like the annual Dutchman's Lost Mine seminar draws crowds, sharing stories around campfires, much like ours. One attendee claimed to see Waltz's ghost pointing to a canyon only to flee from a sudden storm. Is the curse real or self-fulfilling, as desperation leads fatal mistakes? As we wrap up our story into the Superstition Mountains, remember, the real treasure might be the mystery itself, luring us to question what's hidden in the wild. If you've got a superstition story or want episodes maybe we explore Oak Island or El Dorado, comment below. I read them all. Like if the curse gave you chills, subscribe for more campfire enigmas, and share with your treasure hunting crew. Until next time, keep your map close, but your wits closer. Stay close to the fire, because in the superstitions, greed is only the beginning. You're paddling up remote South Nahanni River. Fog, thick as smoke, rolls in, cliffs closing in like jagged jaws. Your canoe scrapes hidden rock. You glance up and freeze. On the muddy bank lies a skeleton, no head, just bleached white bones. A rusted rifle still clutched in bony fingers. A cold whisper rides the wind. Leave or lose yours too. This is Dead Man Valley, the infamous Headless Valley where gold-hungry prospectors vanished without a trace, returned decapitated, or never returned at all. Cursed by ancient spirits, guarded by forgotten tribes, haunted by something that takes heads as trophies. Tonight on Campsite Mysteries, we brave Nahanni's deadly secrets. Hug the fire tight, folks. Once this valley claims you, it keeps what it takes. Welcome, fellow mystery seekers, to another spine-tingling episode of Campsite Mysteries. I'm your host, Edward, coming to you from the edge of the firelight. Tonight, we're venturing into one of the wildest, most unforgiving places on Earth, the Nahanni Valley in Canada's Northwest Territories. Also, make sure you stick around to the end. There's an Easter egg. See if you can listen and figure out what the next episode will be about. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is a true labyrinth. Deep canyons carved by thundering waterfalls, steaming hot springs, sheer limestone cliffs, rising like ancient cathedrals. The South Nahanni River slices through it all, stunningly beautiful, but brutally deadly. Winters drop to negative 50 degrees. Summers swarm with black flies that drive men insane. Sudden floods can wipe out camps in minutes. No roads reach deep inside. Most arrive by bush plane or grueling canoe. But it's not just the wilderness that terrifies. It's the century-old legends of headless bodies, lost fortunes, and a curse that refuses to die. The Dene people, who've lived in this region for generations, have long called parts of the Nahanni taboo. They spoke of evil spirits dwelling in hidden valleys, monstrous beings, and a fierce group called the Naha, warriors said to guard secret canyons with unmatched ferocity. Their warning to outsiders was clear. Enter this land and the valley will take your head. European prospectors ignored those warnings. In the early 1900s, lured by whispers of placer gold richer than the Klondike, the gold rush fever hit hard after 1898, but the Nahanni's isolation made it a graveyard for the greedy. It all kicked off with the MacLeod brothers in 1906. Scotsman Willie and Frank MacLeod, along with the mysterious Scottish engineer companion, pushed deep into the valley, seeking fortune. They sent word they'd struck it rich on the Flat River tributary. Then, silence. 3 years later, in 1908, their brother Charlie led a desperate search party deep in what became known as Dead Man Valley. He found their cabin burned to ashes. 2 skeletons sprawled on the riverbank, both headless. The heads were never recovered. The engineer vanished without a trace. No body, no sign. A carved message on a nearby tree read something like, "We found a fine prospect." No gold was ever found with the remains. Official reports suggested starvation and animal scavenging, but the headless pattern had begun. The horrors didn't end there. In 1917, Swiss prospector Martin Jorgensen built a cabin near the Flat River, hoping to settle permanently. His cabin burned to the ground. His decapitated body was found nearby, head missing. Again, no struggle evident. In 1927, a prospector known as Yukon Fisher, on the run from charges up north, was discovered headless beside his charred shelter. Rifle warped from the heat. By the 1920s and 1940s, more vanished.
The Arctic Circle Trio in 1928 to 1931, including Phil Powers, bodies found beheaded near burned cabins. In 1945, an Ontario miner named Ernest Savard turned up headless in his sleeping bag. Maps soon carried grim names: Headless Creek, Headless Range, Funeral Range, Dead Men Valley. The RCMP records note at least 44 deaths or disappearances since 1908. Some say up to that number specifically tied to the valley's curse era. At least 6 documented headless cases, dozens more vanishings. Bodies often showed no signs of fight, just missing heads, camps torched as if to hide evidence. Gold? Rarely found. Who or what was responsible? Theories exploded. Some blamed the mythical Naha headhunters, a lost aggressive tribe in hidden canyons, though anthropologists say no evidence of such a group exists, possibly misremembered Denny conflicts or folklore. Others pointed to a supernatural curse, Denny spirits avenging sacred land intrusions, or an evil presence wailing through the gorges, driving men mad before striking. Prospectors whispered of shadowy figures, cold whispers, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. The Nahanni hides even wilder tales. Geothermal hot springs create strange warm pockets, legends of hidden tropical valleys with lush plants, palm-like growth, even Ice Age survivors like giant prehistoric beasts. Sightings include the Wahila, a massive white wolf-like monster with broad paws, Bigfoot-style creatures called Nakani or Nakanis, hairy giants twice human size, cave dwellers who snatch lone hunters, a white queen ruling a lost tribe in the midst, even UFO-like lights hovering over peaks. The valley's magnetic anomalies reportedly spin compasses wild. Some fringe theories call it a portal or an energy vortex. Not everyone met a grim end. Explorer R.M. Patterson paddled the Nahanni in the 1920s and lived to write The Dangerous River, a classic adventure book. He felt watched, described eerie silences and the sense of unseen eyes, but kept his head and called the place magnificent, not cursed. Canadian writer Pierre Berton dubbed it bona fide Canadian folklore in the 1940s after his own expedition. Books, films, and articles amplified the myth. Headless prospectors, tropical oases, cave monsters, fringe ideas include lost Spanish and Viking gold caches, interdimensional beings, even government cover-ups. Hey, if the Headless Horrors, Lost Gold, and Hidden Worlds of Dead Man Valley have you gripped, and you crave more remote wilderness, nightmares, cursed hunts, or northern enigmas, hit subscribe right now, turn on notifications, drop a comment below. Would you dare canoe the Nahanni for its secrets, or does the Headless Curse keep you safe at home? Share your own creepy wilderness stories. Your votes and tales shape our next episodes. Alright, back to the mystery. But let's ground this. Many deaths likely came from harsh reality. Exposure, grizzly bears, falls off cliffs, drowning in rapids, or foul play. Rival prospectors killing for claims, then burning evidence. Heads missing, scavenging animals, river currents, or decomposition in remote spots. No confirmed mass headhunter tribe. Gold exists in trace amounts, but nothing legendary. The park now sees few visitors. Rescues are rare and risky due to isolation. Also, in recent times, big sections of the park have been closed. The park has said they have closed those sections off to protect those segments, but speculators believe the reason they are closing many sections off that are very close to Headless Valley is that they want to protect people from whatever is inside of that park. Yet the pool endures. Bush pilots report uneasy feelings. Recent hikers claim whispers or pale figures vanishing into cliffs. In 2005, 2 hunters vanished from a cabin, their bodies later found under puzzling circumstances. Modern adventurers still speak of strange unease. Evil spirits taking heads? Or just plain old human greed? What do you think? As we close this deep dive into Nahani's mysteries, remember, some places don't want to be found. The valley keeps its secrets and sometimes its visitors. If you've got tales from Yukon's Mad Trapper, Alaska's Ishvak, or other frozen horrors, comment. I read every one. Like if these headless legends chilled you to the bone. Subscribe for more campfire chills and share with your adventure buddies. Until next time, watch your neck out there. Stay close to the fire. It's warmer over here. Welcome to Campsite Mysteries, where the fire burns low, shadows stretch long, and every rustle in the forest could be something ancient waking up. Tonight's story is not just a legend, it's a warning. Hidden beneath the beauty of one of America's most iconic national parks lies a darker truth, a curse said to echo through the granite walls themselves. This is the curse of Yosemite National Park. Yosemite is breathtaking. Towering cliffs, waterfalls that roar like ancient giants, forests untouched and unmoving, as if they're holding their breath. And if you've seen Untamed, you know nature is wild, unpredictable, and sometimes unforgiving. I totally recommend watching that show if you love nature and camping. The first season actually takes place in Yosemite, so it's definitely worth the watch. The legend begins with Chief Tenaya, the last leader of the Awenatchee people. After suffering betrayal and bloodshed, he cursed this land. They say he declared that Tenaya Canyon would bring death to anyone who entered, and those who wander into that canyon feel the land watching them. Now let's jump into a little bit of history. Tenaya Canyon is named after Chief Tenaya, the leader of the Awenatchee people, who once called the Yosemite Valley their home. The Awenatchee people were said to have become a distinct tribe from the other local tribes, and Chief Tenaya, a proud and resilient leader, fought fiercely to protect his people and their ancestral lands from encroaching settlers. In 1850 to 1851, the Mariposa War took place in Yosemite National Park. And between the English settlers and the native tribes in the area, a bloody conflict, together with sickness brought from Europe, that would take their numbers in the valley down from around 7,000 to roughly 200 thereabout. It was in the middle of the California gold rush, and the settlers wanted to send the native tribes to the Fresno Reservation. Chief Tenaya, together with the local tribes, fought back. However, personal tragedy struck in the 1850s when Chief Tenaya's own son fell victim to a battalion seeking to forcibly remove the Awenatchee from Yosemite Valley. In the beginning, many of the tribe decided to go to the reservation, but many fled back to the valley. One of the ones that did so was the youngest and favorite son of Chief Tenaya. His son was held captive by the European settlers, and when he tried to flee, he was shot dead. In his grief and rage, Chief Tenaya reportedly invoked a curse upon the canyon, vowing that those who trespassed its sacred grounds would meet misfortune and doom. The curse of Chief Tenaya, there are a couple of different accounts about what exactly he did say. One account of the curse:
"Kill me if you like, but if you do, my voice shall be heard at night calling upon my people to revenge me in louder tones than you have ever made it ring."
It is worth noting, though, that this is a retelling by one that was involved in the removing the native tribes from Yosemite. There is another account about what he did say, but again, this is all speculation from the settlers of the time.
"You may kill me, Sir Captain, but you shall not live in peace. I will follow in your footsteps. I will not leave my home, but be with the spirits among the rocks. The water falls in the rivers and in the winds. Wherever you go, I will be with you. You will not see me, but you will fear the spirit of the old chief and grow old. The great spirits have spoken. I am done."
Now, the guides call it the Bermuda Triangle of Yosemite. Compasses flicker, trails seem to shift, people vanish as if the land simply swallows them whole. Now, from the curse to the modern day, Tenaya Canyon has seen tragedy after tragedy. Falls, disappearances, storms appearing without warning. Certain rescue teams report hearing footsteps behind them only to turn around and to see no one. Now, some hikers say they feel a presence following them. Over the years, the Curse of Tenaya Canyon has become the stuff of legend, whispered among park rangers and visitors alike. It is said that the Tulum Meadows is the place from where the curse itself comes from, and it is filled with the spirit of those that died in battle there. Tales abound of accidents, mysterious deaths, and inexplicable disappearances that have befallen those who dare to venture into its depths. It is worth noting, though, that for a big part of the canyon, signs telling people, warning, this is not a trail, are all over the trails and around Tioga Road. Mostly hikers and climbers in the canyon mostly talk about the sense that something is there. Climbers have felt that there's something with them in the canyon, something pulling sleeping bags at night. But there are some that think that the curse is more dangerous than just an ominous presence, and some pranks around the tents. Some believe that the curse is at fault for many of the accidents, disappearances, and even deaths that have happened in the canyon, something that has made people call the canyon the Bermuda Triangle of Yosemite. Many have tried hiking the 10-mile traverse to traverse the canyon from the route from Tenaya Lake to Yosemite Valley. Even the Yosemite legend John Muir fell when he was unconscious when he tried to explore that part of Yosemite National Park.
I was ascending a precipitous rock from smooth by glacial action when I suddenly fell for the first time since I touched foot to Sierra rocks. After several somersaults, I became insensible from the shock, and when consciousness returned, I found myself wedged among short, stiff bushes. I could not remember what made me fall or where I had fallen from, but I was not injured in the slightest.
These were accounts from John Muir. He actually founded Sequoia National Park and Kings Canyon as well as Yosemite National Park, so definitely check those parks out if you got a chance. Now, is the curse real? Although the history of it is all true, its details must be taken with a grain of salt. According to the historians, as the only retelling of what had happened, when and what was said only comes from the side that won the battle and was alive to tell the tale. So, but what did Tenaya's descendants and the natives have to say about this story? A spokesperson from the southern Sierra Miwok Nation claims that the curse is common, and knowledge among them as well. Every time someone dies or has a terrible accident, or the very nature itself is moved by rock slides. For example, they say a prayer and bless to keep the curse of Tenaya away and Yosemite safe. But beware, it is said for those not respecting the rocks, the plants, or the waters in the park, bad things will happen. So be very wary of that. And finally, is this curse real? I can't say for sure, but Tenaya Canyon feels different, heavy, like the past still lives there, and maybe it still wants something. But you decide, legend or curse? What do you believe is stalking Yosemite's darkest canyon? Now, that's it, guys, for today's episode. If you do like, mysterious campsite mystery tales, please subscribe to the channel. This is the first episode of many to come. I promise it's going to be great. Just go ahead and follow the channel. Keep on the lookout. I'm going to try to do, weekly stories for you guys. So if you like the mysteries and they send chills down your spine, hit the like and tell me in the comments whether you think the Curse of Yosemite is real or it's just a chilling story passed down through time.
From storm-ravaged lands that fight back, to gold mines that swallow men whole, to valleys that take your head as payment, these curses prove one thing: some places were never meant for us. So tell me in the comments, would you still chase the Lost Dutchman's gold? Would you hike into Headless Valley or camp underneath Yosemite's cursed skies? Until next time on Campsite Mysteries, stay on the trail, respect the warnings, and whatever you do, don't break the curse.